The world of technology. The world of technology is constantly evolving, which means there's always an opportunity to learn and grow.
My name is Oyebode Esther. I studied religious studies at the University of Ibadan.
My name is Ifeoluwa. I studied cell biology and genetics in the University of Lagos, after which I got a job working in the bank.
My name is Regina Taiwo. You wouldn't believe I studied architecture in school.
I knew there was more, so I decided to take a leap. Currently, I am a product designer and a product manager.
I'm currently a motion graphics designer.
Presently, I am a data scientist and an AWS cloud engineer.
I understand that being a lady is not a disadvantage, so I embrace tech.
And I am thriving as a Texas.
And I am thriving as a Texas.
Now I can say I'm a thriving Texas.
Are you ready to break new grounds and join the world of tech? The Ladies in Tech Africa initiative is a commemorative bootcamp in honor of our visionary, Pastor Mrs. Folu Adeboye, as we join her in thanking God for her 76th birthday celebration. This program is designed to help you make your career shift a reality. Registration is open and you can register via the link on your screen right now.
Have you ever wondered?
Present. Hi everyone. Nice to have you here again. It's day 2 of our bootcamp and I'm excited again for another session, another class. If you're excited, I want you to put it on the chat. I'm looking forward to your response. Hi Shikemi, how are you? How's your day?
Hi Flashade, I'm good. My day was good. It's nice to be here again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to today's session.
Same here.
Okay.
Right. Just give me a minute. Go on.
Yeah. Okay, guys, please drop your. How was your day? Hope you had a great day. If you can hear me on the group chat, I would like to know how your day went. How was it? Mine was productive as usual. How was yours? Okay. Hi. Hello, Abiodun. Hello, Blessing. Hello, Bukola. Hello, Titi Lokwe. Hello, Christiana. Hello, Moyosola. Silva. King, Deborah. Hello, everyone. Really, I'm excited as well. How was your day? Hope it went well. So today we're going to be talking about but I just want us to have like a little interactions before we dive into the class. It's going to be another wonderful time. Really, it's going to be another wonderful time. I hope you guys have done your assignment. Don't worry, before the week runs out, we'll tell you how to submit your assignment. But keep doing your assignment as we give you. So don't stop or don't relent. I want the excitement and everything that we had first day, bring it in. Be open-minded. Don't forget about that. Be open-minded. So I just want us to do like a little interactions before we dive into today's class. Today's class will be a continuation of last class. So who can tell me like where we ended last class? Like the topic I talked about briefly before we move to today's class. And anyways, exciting thing is that today we're having another facilitator take us on that topic. So I want to see your comment or your response. Okay. I stopped at a topic last week and I would like you to drop where we stopped. Oh, nice. We have attentive participants. Well done, ladies. Well done. Well done. Well done. Well done. Well done. Good job. Good job. Good job. Okay, quick one. Before we start, well done, guys. I would like to ask something quickly. So, which of you think that design is all about how things look, or design is just about making things look good, or it's about solving problem? Which of them do you think design is all about? Do you think that design is all about making things look good, or do you think that design is all about solving problems? Okay, let's have your response. I'm looking at the chat, so I want to see your response. What do you think? Do you think design is just about making things look good or actually solving problems? Okay, it's kind of tricky, anyways. Okay. Wow, I think the person that said both, well done. Everybody that said it's about looking good or it's about solving problem, well done. Actually, the thing is that design, like I taught you last class, it's a mix of both ideas. That is, it's about how things work, how you make things look good, and also how you tend to solve problems. So, well done. Okay, another question I'm going to ask is going to be a fun question. So, if you could redesign one thing in your daily life, like if there's a website or a mobile app that you feel that, oh, I think I would like to design this based on the five design thinking processes we talked about briefly last week. So, if you have like an opportunity, maybe today they call you, Deborah, I want you to design something, maybe a particular mobile app or a website, what would that design be and why? Anyways, okay, I'm looking forward. Let's do this quickly. We just have like 1 to 2 minutes before we start. Okay, I'm going to take that question again. If you could redesign one thing in your life as a designer or as an incoming global designer, what would that thing be? What would that product be or digital product be? What would that website or mobile app be and why? Just something very brief. Or you just tell me what product and why you would like to redesign it. It could be anything. It could be a fintech app. It could be a coffee app or a food delivery app, whatever thing. Just take a minute to think about it and share your ideas on the chat. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Okay. Someone says Telegram. Okay. You didn't put why you want to solve Telegram or you want to redesign Telegram. Okay. Someone says why website. Okay. I want you to specifically name the app or the website. Okay. Okay. You need to put why. Okay. Someone says LinkedIn because it's user friendly. Okay. So what problem do you want to solve for LinkedIn? Google Podcast. Okay. It's slow. Okay. Nice, 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 nice. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Um, Purple Mall. Purple Mall. I think that name sounds familiar. Someone says Facebook because I dislike the appearance of. I okay. Nice, 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 nice. Well done, guys. Okay, let's go straight into the class. I'm going to be introducing our facilitator for this session. Our name is Olua Shekemi. So Shekemi, you can come up right now. So by 8 p.m. we'll be having like a short break. Then I would come up again to give you like a little game to play. Well done, guys. See you later. Bye. Well done. Over to you, Shikemi. You need to unmute yourself.
Hi everyone, good evening. I'm happy to be here as much as you are. It has been an amazing time since day one. I hope you're all excited as I am. I hope you're all as excited as I am. So, okay. I think the materials will be shared soon, like with everyone that has registered for this class. And let's proceed. So I'll be sharing my slides. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the design thinking process. I know from the last class we spoke about product design, what product design is about, what being a product designer is about, who a product designer is, what they do, everything just to help you understand what product design is. So today we're going to be talking about the design thinking process, and let's dive into it. All right. So we'll be talking about design thinking. We'll be talking about the phases of design thinking. We'll be talking about the roles of a product designer, and then there'll be a little test at the end of class. All right. So I don't know. Does anyone want to attempt what design thinking is? Do you know what design thinking is? Oh, thank you, Ruth. Does anyone have an idea or maybe just want to attempt what is design thinking? Just one or two people will be fine. Good evening, Bukolami. Good evening, Tife. Nobody? All right. So, what is design thinking? Design thinking is a problem solving approach that focuses on understanding the needs and experiences of users to develop. Okay. Okay. That's nice. Brainstorming session that goes into design. Principle used to help solve problems. Okay, principles used to solve problems. That's true. All right, so it's an approach that focuses on understanding the needs and experiences of users to develop innovative solutions. So, and then it's something that, the whole goal or the whole work of a product designer is to get a solution that addresses a user need. And to be able to get the best solution, first you have to understand the user. You have to understand the user, their pain points, which is what are their frustrations using the product, or what are their frustrations generally that you like to solve, and then seeing, okay, what solution can solve the problem, and not just any solution, what's the best solution that can solve the problem. And it's good to know that it's actually not limited to just product design, like digital product design. This can be applied in so many other fields. It could be architecture, it could be engineering, it could be so many other fields, not just product design. So it's basically just thinking about how do I solve a problem? And then definitely, how do you solve a problem from the user's perspective? So let's go to the next slide. So basically, it's solving the right problems by deeply understanding the user. So when you understand the user, you can change their frown to a smile. Then let's go into what is the design thinking process. Do we have anyone that wants to attempt what a design thinking process is? It's literally like it's very, very simple. Okay, so I'll just go ahead. Design thinking process. Design thinking process is a structured approach to problem solving that focuses on the user's needs and innovative solutions. Oh, this was probably a mistake. So this is the process of like literally coming up with the solutions, and there are different parts to it. Empathize. First, you have to empathize with the user. You have to understand what problems are you facing, what issue do you need a solution in, who are you, what would you like to see, what would you like to use, how can we make life easier for you, basically. And then we go ahead to define, and when we understand, okay, this is all the issues you're facing, we're able to define that, oh, okay, this is the problem that we are solving. And then we move on to ideate is where you come up with different solutions, possible solutions, and we'll be choosing a case study. You come up with different solutions to address the problem before you now choose the, okay, let's try this solution. This is like what covers all the pain points, or this what covers all the issues. And then you move on to prototyping. Prototyping is where you create like a model, you look at the solution, you add flesh to it, you're like, okay, this is a flow that can work. And then you bring it out that, okay, this is a solution to your problem. Look at it. Does it effectively solve your problem? Or is there something we should add or remove? Or is there something we didn't consider? And then go on to testing. Testing is where you have actually developed the product, and then you still take it back to the users and you're like, okay, is this everything you need? Does it work? Does it successfully solve your problem? And then you go back again or go back again or end the project depending on what happens. So just to not confuse you further, this is an iterative process. First, understand the user, which is empathize. Then define the problem. This is what we're solving. Then ideate, come up with ways to solve the problem. And then prototype. This is where you maybe scribble, you sketch, you list out, like you try to add flesh up to your solution. Okay, this is how the solution looks like. And then you test it and you're like, okay, this works or this does not work. And that would determine the next phase of the project. So this is just like an outline. So first, empathize, learn about the audience, define, constructing pain, constructing the point of view based on the user needs. Then ideate, this is the brainstorming, coming up with creative solutions. Prototyping, this is where you build the representation, and then testing, this is where you test the idea. So this brings us to the 5 phases of design thinking, which we've literally already listed before. So just in more detail, empathize, understanding the user's needs through observation, interviews, empathy marks, surveys. So it's like, okay, how exactly do I even know the user? How do exactly do I even get feedback from user? How can I communicate with the users? So you can do that through observation. You could do that through interviews, like one-on-one, that, okay, tell me about this problem you're facing. You could do that through empathy maps. You could do that through surveys, maybe create a Google form and send it out and you're like, okay, everyone feel this, or target audience feel this, to answer, okay, what frustrations are you experiencing, or what is the problem you like us to solve. And this stage aims to help you gain a deeper understanding of the user's experiences and challenges. So it's not just you that you just sit at home and assume, or maybe you go on Google and just feel, okay, this is a problem. This is you actually having to interact with the users or possible users, and then know or be guided when developing a solution for them. So the case study we're going to be using is a fitness app. So imagine a fitness app used in a gym, and user frustrations, where the users here are gym members. They are frustrated when they are trying to track their exercise routines and to better understand their exercise routines. So how does the fitness app team actually understand exactly the problem they're facing? Like, yeah, sure, there's an issue solving the there's an issue tracking their exercise routines, but then what exactly, like, is not tracking it well, or it's too slow, or it's not allowing me to add more information, or maybe I don't like typing, I rather speak. Like, what exactly is the issue that is not that, that is making you experience frustrations when using maybe our application to track your exercise routines? So that's where the fitness app team comes in, and they conduct interviews, maybe talk to the gym members. Okay, tell us the problem, talk to us, what is the problem, what are you going through, what do you need? And then they were able to understand that, okay, is when so they're able to understand that, okay, is the process of logging the workout itself. And then they moved on, basically. So let's go to the next one, which is define. Define is synthesizing the information gathered during the empathizing phase. So all the information gathered, all the feedback, all the and then we'll still go into more detail of this when, like, in other stages of the class, how to actually create a user persona, how to create an empathy map, how to create a user journey, how to talk with how to create interviews or surveys. So you'll still be taught in more detail, but for now, let's just understand the concept. So when we've gathered all the information from the interviews and the surveys and everything, we now process all the informations, and then we look at, like, let's say 10 people said, I don't like typing. 5 people said, I like typing. 2 people said, I rather think it to life, or I expect it to be there. Don't tell me to type. Let me just tap on the information. So when we synthesize all the information from everybody, we can now think possible solutions. Now we have a guide on, okay, this is the problem, and we're like, okay, so how can we exactly solve the problem of typing, or how can we exactly solve the problem of um typing, or solve the problem of having to speak, or we just want to tap on it. We don't even want to start listing all the routines we went through. I mean, there are basic routines that should be there already. And then we go back to the case study. They realize that, yeah, I've already explained this, the complex data entry and tracking, and then it's just a simplified login experience that they want. So all the whole grammar and everything is just, okay, let's simplify the information collection process to be able to deliver more accurate and personalized feedback. So let's make it easy for them to log in the track of their exercises. How do we mark attendance for today? I think just at the end of the class, put your name in the chat box. That will mark your attendance. Okay, so that moves us on to ideating. And what's ideating? This is where you generate a wide range of ideas and potential solutions. So this stage you brainstorm. This is where the whole team comes together. There's creative thinking, there's sketching, there's various possible like exploring various possibilities, and but then you're not exactly evaluating their feasibility. Right now you're still bringing in solutions, so you look at probably other competitors, you look at okay, what can we do, what's trend, or what's happening, or what new feature can we integrate. Should we use AI, should we not use AI, should we have, okay, instead of typing, have voice input, should we, okay, instead of even all of them, should we have a list they can choose from, and then if it's not in the list, maybe order to add their name. Like just exploring different solutions. Okay, instead of even using phone, should it be just something maybe on your way out, like there'll be a tablet at the door for them to just tap it on their way out, things like that. So just looking at different ideas, looking at different solutions to the problem. And then it will come back to our case study. So this is where the team brainstorms on various solutions to simplify data entry for the gym members. Remember, the problem is them easily entering their data and logging in their experiences. So let's say they considered voice inputs, they considered barcode scanning, they considered automatic activity detection. Like as they're about to do the press up, let it scan their body and notes that, okay, press up was done or whatever was done. And then they can now explore, okay, which solution is the most feasible and which solution actually addresses the pain points in the most effective way. So, and then after that is prototyping. So after they've now selected the best solution, so this is where you now create like a tangible representation of the ideas. This is where you create like, this is where you like have wireframes. We'll still be taught all of this later. You have a low fidelity wireframe, or you have a sketch that, okay, this is how the app can look like. Okay, this is a flow they can use. Maybe they'll tap on this, their information is recorded, or they just say maybe, hey Siri, log this, and then information is recorded. So you can have like a tangible representation for the stakeholders, for the people involved, to even show, okay, gym member, look at the solution we're proposing. Does this solution work? So that's where we come into user testing, usability testing. We'll be like, okay, does this work? And they'll be like, oh no, it does not work. Yes, it works. And then we have mock-ups of physical models. Maybe after we've linked everything, we can now show like in a video, or even hand it over to them, like send them a link that, okay, try it on your phone. Does it work? Does it not work? Type of thing. So before we even send it out to them, we definitely have to create it. So that's where the prototyping phase is. So the prototyping phase is the creating of the tangible representations of the ideas or idea, and then it could be anything, and it helps explore and test the feasibility of different solutions in a low risk environment. So it's not a case where the developers have developed, the front end has front end, everything has finished, and I'm saying test it, and then that will cost money, that will cost time. You definitely don't want to go through that process, and then you realize it's not the best solution. You now have to start all over again. So it's just better to have like a model that you can share and use for the solutions. So the last phase, yeah, so that's just explained here. The team developed interactive prototypes of the new login interface, incorporating features like voice recognitions, automatic tracking, and then these prototypes allowed users to test and provide feedback on the new design concept. So the last part is the testing, which is the evaluating of the prototypes with real users. So when you're done, when you've gone through the first phase you've known, okay, this is how it can work, and then you have actually proceeded with the actual development. You can now, okay, this is the product, this is the solution. And I don't know if any of you have come across beta, like you see maybe Telegram beta, or you see, I don't know if there are designers here, you see like Photoshop beta. So these are like examples where, or cases where um you get to explore the app before it's released to the general public. So you can even, and definitely some beta apps come with like bugs. So you try to be like, oh, my experience using this app, I didn't like this. I would like it if it's this way. I might use this. I would like it if it's this way. So those are like ways companies, organizations can collect feedback and improve before they like, okay, this is the final product we're releasing to the public. So, and then in the fitness app, they tested the new login features with the users and they collected feedback, and they reviewed areas of improvement, like, okay, improve on the accuracy of the automatic tracking or refining the voice input feature. And that is how they improved their fitness app using the 5 steps of design thinking, or through the 5 steps of design thinking. So I don't know, let's just recap. Does anyone want to just type a simple recap? What have you learned so far? Or what do you understand? Or do you have any questions before I move on to the next phase? So I just, let me just know I'm not alone here. Like, are we all following me? Does anyone just want to recap? Okay, you're here. Esther, I see you. So does anyone just want to say, okay, what do you understand so far? Do you have any questions? I hope we're not lost. Yes, definitely, Victoria. You learn about our audience. So that's why the target audience, identifying your user, creating a user persona. So that's still like, that will still be taught when we dive in more into UX. That's the user experience. Okay, amazing. Exactly. Design thinking is a problem solving approach. Why should, okay, noted, Grace. Yes, exactly. Before you can come up with a design, every step in a design process, thinking process is important. Okay, the ideation. So ideation is basically coming up with ideas. So this is where brainstorming comes in. This is where sketching comes in. This, imagine a room full of designers and you're like, how do we actually solve this problem? So everybody brings their experience. They go online. They check different other companies, or they check possible solutions. They talk to the users. Okay, have you used another app you liked that had this feature you're asking for? So things like that. So it just helps come up with the solution. So ideation is where um they're actually putting out a range of solutions, and they're like, okay, this can work, this can work, this can work. And then they'll not be like, okay, out of everything, this can work. Or in fact, let's add everything together and create the perfect solution. So that all of that happens in the ideation phase. Okay. Yes, exactly. You need to interact. You need to interact with the user. Like, it's, when you're creating something, you're not creating it for yourself. You're creating with the user. So if you're creating for the user and you're not talking to the user, it's like you're just waiting for a problem or for a bomb to go off. Like, it's not gonna happen, because if it's not solving their problem, they don't need your product, and that would be wasted time, wasted effort. So everything has to revolve around the user. Whatever you're creating, whatever you're doing, you can't do it, or you shouldn't do it without the user. All right. So what's prototyping? Prototyping is where you create a model, like a physical or a representation of your solution. Yes, all of this will be treated in the UI class, which we'll have, I think, maybe next week or next 2 weeks. Prototyping is where you create like a physical representation of your solution. So take for example, let's use WhatsApp. WhatsApp is an application used to send messages. It's also an application used to make calls, or an application used to like tell people about your day through status. So now, if someone says, now before WhatsApp was created, someone is like, I want to send a message, but I don't want to use text message to send a message. I want to send a message through internet and still have that text message feel. And maybe that's the only thing. I don't want to be distracted with uploads or Instagram, like pictures or anything. I just literally want to send a message. And WhatsApp will sit down and be like, okay, how can we create something like this? And I'm like, okay, we can have that text message feel. We can maybe have a section, and then maybe they're like, okay, let's not limit it just to text message. Let's also add video call. Let's add voice call. Let's add upload status. Let's add all these things. So when they are done with all the thinking, they'll now, okay, let's create what we have thought, or let's sketch out what we have thought. So that's the prototyping. Like, okay, so how can our app have a text message? What would they do? Okay, they'll open the app, they'll search for the person they want to message. After they search for the person they want to message, they'll click on the name, then they'll see where they can write the message and click send. And then maybe where they are clicking send, they can also look up and say, okay, I can also place a call, I can place a video call. So all these are happening in the ideation and also easing into the prototype. So as they now began to sketch, like, okay, so how exactly can we even fit everything into one screen? So now they're already sketching. They're already looking at views. They're like, oh, which one? Okay, there's Facebook messenger. Let's look at Facebook Messenger. Ah, there's Instagram message. Let's look at message. Oh, there's iMessage. Let's look at iMessage. Which one works for us? Oh, iMessage works for us, kind of, but we're not looking like iMessage, or we're not looking like text message. So now they're sketching. They're like, okay, this works. Let's bring it to life. So they actually, okay, let's add color, let's add somebody's picture so that we can show our organ and say, this is how our messaging app will look like. It's not the same as Facebook Messenger, it's not the same as Instagram Messenger, it is WhatsApp. So when they are showing their organ, it's not the real WhatsApp, it's just how it would look. And then they can link all the parts and say, okay, this is a functional WhatsApp. Although it's not the real thing, you can just have the experience of sending a message. So that experience of sending a message is what we call a prototype. You still learn how to do this with Figma and so many other things. So when you've now like created that, you can now, the orga can now say, okay, develop or don't develop, still research small. And if it says develop, you give the developers, and then we now have the real WhatsApp. You can now send WhatsApp beta, like, oh, everybody test so before we give the whole world. And then when it's, you get good feedback, maybe add this one, remove this one, can I release to the whole world? So I think that kind of explains the whole design thinking process. Can a prototype be in 3D? It depends on what you're creating. It literally depends on what you're creating, but it usually starts from 2D. But if you want to create maybe for like a VR headset, remember I mentioned product design is not just apps, web, everything. It can be more than that. You can use it in product, you can use it in clothing, you can use it in anywhere, you can use it in architecture. So if whatever you're creating is 3D bound, maybe you want to create UI screens for a VR headset, definitely your design should have a 3D feel. But then I think it's still 2D coming together to form 3D. You're just creating the different phases for them. Okay, so I think at the end of the class, I'll still do a recap so as not to waste further time. Thank you, Joy. Okay, the testing phase. The testing phase is where you look at the app. Like, this is where you have created the app. You have prototyped it. You have a model. So first is, before you even give the developers, test that model. Does this flow work? Before you even go and meet your boss to even show him everything, test the model. Does it work? Does it not work? Should we add? Should we remove? So when you're like, oh, I can successfully send a message if I follow this flow, you can now show your boss. When your boss now approves development, you now still create like another prototype, which is now, let's say, a beta version that you will now give users again after everything is done. And then once that works, they develop and it's for the public. But that doesn't even end there. You still be collecting information for update, because some will be like, and we can send message, we can call me. I want to be able to send stickers, I want to be able to send GIF. So those type of things come in later on. Okay, so let us proceed. I hope we're all clear now. Prototype, I won't say prototype is a preset. Prototype is like the creation of what to be pre-tested. And what would, yeah, is okay. Let's use a building. Perfect. There's still an architectural case study later on, but let's use a building. So um maybe someone wants to build an office, or someone wants to build a house. The architect will first, okay, tell me about this house you want to build. What do you want in your house? Is it a duplex? Is it a bungalow? Is it a flat? What do you want? And then after then he'll create like a blueprint. So now creating that blueprint, let's call that sketching. Let's call that, okay, first talking to the person, to the landlord that wants to build, is what's the first phase? Empathizing, understanding the user, then creating the blueprints. Okay, based on everything you have said, this is so ideating. Based on everything you have said, we're going to create, we're going to think and get back to you. That's the ideation. So when he's thinking, he'll go and say, okay, let me go and look at all the flats in Lagos. Let me go and look at the duplex in Lagos. What's the trending flats? What's the trending duplex? That's ideation. Then he will now prototype. So that prototype is, first you do blueprints that, okay, I hope you now go and meet, you do blueprints, you go and meet the user. I hope this captures everything you want. To you say you want window facing the ocean, you want door facing the forest. Does the door face the forest to your liking? That's where prototyping is. And then you now go on to, I don't know if any of us have seen all these small models of a house. I don't, like, if you went to school, architecture students usually carry all these small models of a house that they're saying, okay, it can be built on. So those small models of the house is also like the part of prototyping, where there's now like a physical model. It's not the house, you cannot enter, like it's very tiny, but you now know how the roof looks like, you know how the door looks like. Do you get? So that's the prototyping. Then testing is now looking at that model. We're now looking at the house. We're like, this roof, if rain should fall in this Nigeria, it will collapse, or the rain will not drain very well, or those type of things. So that's still part of testing. And then when all the builders, everybody build the house, you still test that. I hope you use this material for the roof, or I hope you use this. The window has to be circular, it must not be square. So that's testing. I hope we're good. I hope we are good. All right. All right. So let's move on. Okay. So now there's an example here just to better buttress. So there's a real world example for Airbnb. I hope you all know what Airbnb is. Airbnb is a platform that connects hosts with travelers. So let's say I want to travel to London now and I don't have a place to stay. I can go on Airbnb and say, okay, which apartment is available for sale for maybe the 2-3 days I'll be in London. So that's what the app does. It connects travelers to hosts. And they realized they're not making so much money. So they had to think that, what could be this problem? I mean, these apartments look nice. It's not as if it's a health hazard or anything. What's the problem? So based on research, they had to talk to the users. Why didn't you wanted to book, you now canceled your booking, or you didn't proceed? What's the problem? So they found out that the pictures were blurry. Like, obviously, not everybody has that iPhone 15 camera. So some people's picture of their house will look good. Even though the house is good, it might look, face me, I face you. Some will, and it's not face me, and they will not put $1,000. You be like, how does it balance? While some will face me, I face you, it will not look like 1,000 house. So those type of things are like, we don't want to be using this app, is a scam. So they're like, they noticed pictures were blurry, it was not of good quality, and they now had to think and be like, okay, how can we address this problem? Should we give them tips on how to snap better pictures? Maybe they should put on the lights before they snap it. They should snap during the day, not in the night. Maybe we can do tutorial for all of them. But they realized that even though we do tutorial, if you don't have good camera, you don't have good camera. Like, we need better solutions. So after ideating and looking up different solutions, they now figured out, okay, we can snap for them. We can have the good camera and snap the picture for them, for it to be listed on our platform. But then again, how many people will we snap? I mean, we go all over the world. Like, there'll be one travel photographer that'll be like, okay, um I'm going to UK now to snap. I'm going to Australia to snap. Like, we can't do that, and it will be expensive. So they're like, okay, what other solution can we even look into? They're like, okay, we can have the local photographers go and snap in these places. So they will just partner with the local. So for example, now if someone in Lagos wants to put his house up for Airbnb, like, okay, let people come and stay here. I don't use this house, I live in Abuja, my Lagos house is free, it looks nice, I could be making money there, let me list it. They can now say that, okay, instead of looking for a photographer there, we can just look for a photographer in Lagos close to the house. Obviously there's like a vetting and a verification that the person who meets the standards of our picture taking go snap the house and then upload it on behalf of us. And that was a beautiful solution. So now we have photographers, like, if you want to put up your house, someone will come snap it for you and upload it for you, or send you the pictures after and upload it for you, and then your house looks good. And after that, I mean, the good news is it now made people trust the platform more. They had an increase in sales, they had more travelers using their service, and that was what solved the problem. Literally just that. You can see how little the solution was, or I won't say little, but then you can see how they approached the problem as well and ended up with a solution. So probably the prototyping, they were testing different, like, okay, should we give them tutorial? We give them tutorial, maybe we'll still see that, oh, the pictures they improved, the pictures they improved. Okay, let these people snap. Okay, this is the new view of better pictures, this is the new view of not better pictures, and things like that. And I mean, it was a successful solving of problem, and we have what we have today. Okay, so let's move on to the next. So I think I've answered most of the questions. Any other questions, we can look at that at the end of the class. We're moving on to a new section, and that is, what is the role of a product designer? So on Monday, we got to understand who a product designer is, what a product designer does. And now we're actually looking in depth to the role of a designer. And to be honest, it's not that complicated. Everything aligns with what what the phases of design thinking is. So all these phases of design thinking is done by a product designer. Though in the real world, we do have like different sections. Like, we have the UX researcher that is in charge of research. We have the UI designer is in charge of UI. We have this person in charge of this. So it's not just, it shouldn't be one person, but then their roles kind of encompass the different phases. And definitely, I'm sure we all know that a product designer's job or role is from the beginning of the product to the end of the product. Like, before we make the product, when the product is being made, and after the product has been made, we're still there, basically. And then obviously even after them, because there'll be more updates, there'll be new technological advancements, things will change, things will be added, things like that. All right, so what is the role of a product designer? Literally designing and developing products for the user, balancing user experience with user interface. So yeah, Falashade mentioned in the last class how UX and product design and UI UX is used interchangeably, or like they shall use it in, you get the point. So yes, but they are different. UI UX is different from product design. The product designer uses UI UX and is more on balancing the user experience with the user interface. So what is the role of the product designer? We have user research, we have the conceptual design. Thank you, Esther. Interchangeably. I think I should just give up on this word. But yes, user research, conceptual design, visual design, prototyping, collaboration. So let me go through over that again. The product designer does user research, basically understanding the user, conceptual design, which is like designed to process all the ideas you have to solve the problem, visual design, which is bringing it to life, like literally creating what's the solution you've agreed on, and then prototyping, putting it together for presentation and testing and collaboration, working with other members of the team to ensure that the product comes to life and solves the problem it is meant to solve. So let's go on. We're going to break down each and every one of them. And yeah, there's also a case study of the architect. I know I've kind of mentioned that earlier, but I guess we'll see it in more detail and understand better. So, 5 roles of a product designer. First, user research. So, what is user research? User research is the process of gathering insight about the user's needs. Key points, or let's say highlight users' needs. So, we're understanding the user's needs, behaviors, experiences, and how do we do this? Through interviews, surveys, observations. So the goal is to understand the user deeply, which would inform or influence the design decisions. So remember, everything is about the user, for the user, in the user, user controls everything. Like the user is the end goal. So if whatever you're designing doesn't help the user, it's like it's not needed. So you definitely need to understand what the user needs, how they behave. Like, is the user color blind? Is the user maybe having a disease that does not allow you to type well? Does the okay, if the user is color blind now, using creating a design that is color intensive would be a bad choice because the user won't be able to differentiate one color from another. But something like that, you might have to use icons or shapes to differentiate different sections so that they can know that, so they can still differentiate or understand your application. User behaviors too. If the person is blind, you might want to have like a voice activation feature, and then also experiences. How do they use it? When would they use it? Would they use it in the morning when they wake up, or in the night when they're about to sleep, or during the day? Which can also influence, like if it's in the morning now, you might, oh, unless it's a preference, you could say, okay, it's better we use dark mode or light mode, or even allow them to have the option of choosing either light mode or dark mode. We'll still get into all of this, understanding the target audience, and also creating designs that are accessible. So, um, yeah, so that's what user research is for. So the goal is to understand users deeply to inform the design decisions. So let's look at Sarah the architect. So architect Sarah was tasked with, and I've used this example maybe for people that are just joining or just to understand better what I explained before. Architect Sarah was tasked with designing a new office for to meet the needs of the company and its employees. She needed to understand how they would use the space and what features will enhance their work environment. So let's look at Sarah. What's the task? Create a new office or design a new office. And then don't worry, I know I'm using architects, but I'll still link on how it relates later on. So, yes, building. So now the end goal is we want to build a tech company want to build a tech company's building, like a new office, and architect Sarah is the one in charge. So they said they want that modern building, maybe like Google. Maybe they have a slide, they have a place to sleep, they have a snack bar, they have everything to make life super easy. Okay, so the link for the attendance will be shared. I know I mentioned we should put it in the chat, but there'll be a link so that it'll be better organized. So just watch out for the link towards the end of the class, and then you can put in your attendance. So yeah, so now to approach this, definitely she needs to understand, okay, what type of space do you want? And even the employees, people that are going to use the space, what's in your normal space now, what do you like, or what would you have liked, or what would you need? Maybe some would be like, we need a kitchenette, we can't be eating at the table. Some will be like, we some will be like, maybe would have preferred if we had a table. Not all of us are sharing a table. Maybe we had our own individual table. Some would be like, let it be a room for designers, let it be a room for developers. Not that one person in ground floor is trying to locate someone at the fifth floor. So those are things that she would collect feedback of, and she would be able to she'll be able to note and consider when she's going about her design. So we'll be going on a break very, very soon. That will be by 8 o'clock in the next 8 minutes. So let us just continue, and then we'll take a break, process everything, and then I'll come back, and then we'll complete the class. So just to better understand ideate, user research, which includes not ideate actually, empathizing. This is where Sarah now meets with the tech company stakeholders. I think I've mentioned this. You meet with the guys and be like, okay, what do you need? How much do you have? That's another important thing. Some people will want an app that can maybe scroll left, scroll right, jump up, jump down, and their budget is only building the front page. So how much do you have? um what are the goals, how much do you plan to make through the app, things like that. So you want to understand, okay, the tech companies stakeholders point of view. Then you want to spend time researching, and not just talking to the company leadership, but also interviewing the employees, which are the users of the building, users of the app. Then understanding their daily work routines and challenges. This is where you have like the user journey map, the user persona. You want to understand, okay, what scenario would this app use, or in what scenario would the office be used, what time, like, I know I'm using this interchangeably, but I hope you understand. So like, in what case, what's their daily routine, what time do they go on break? Okay, when they go on break, would they rather sit down on their chair or go to somewhere to eat? Should we have a canteen, things like that? So understanding their daily work routine and challenges. And some are like, oh, there's no canteen, all of us have to stay in our space. Someone's smell of egg is interfering with someone's smell of chicken and things like that. So it will all influence the design decision and solution. So everything I've mentioned is just how a product designer literally conducts user research to understand the needs and pain points of the users. You want to know their frustrations. You want to know why they want your app, or what they would like your app to solve for them. So that's it for now. We're going to be going on a break. Thank you all so much. You can just put in the chat box, I don't know what you've learned, or if you still have more questions, and then we'll continue when I come back. Thank you.
All our social media platforms.
All right, we're back. I hope you all enjoyed our breaks. Let's say break time. I hope you all enjoyed our break time. All right. So there were some questions that came in, and before I continue, let me just quickly answer them. So the first one is, what's the difference between prototype and testing? Prototype is a model or representation of the final product, while testing is the testing of the prototype. So testing could be of for the final product or of the prototype. So prototype, when I say representation of the final product could be, in the case of an architect, when you create a model of the building, it is not the actual building, but it's how the building will look like after it has been built. So that is the prototype. Now, testing is where you select maybe a few people, or like, I don't say a few people, more like a sample. So a sample could be experts, could be the users, should have the users though, or potential users. Maybe you'd say like, okay, we're going to test this on 100 people, and you maybe, okay, let me put 2 or 3 experts there so they can give valuable insights. So you just give people that can give feedback or collect feedback from them, and then based on the feedback, we'll now determine the next course of action. So prototype is like a model, while testing is testing the prototype, which is testing the model to see if it's okay for production, or if there are things we should add to the already produced work. I hope that's clear. All right. Then the next question is, what is the empathize phase? So that phase is where you understand the user's needs, understand their pain points, understand issues they might be going through, or why they want your products, or what they want your product to do for them. So this is where you interview, observe, talk to, maybe go through the review section of your application and say, okay, this is what I'm going to focus on, start thinking about solutions for, get out the actual problem for. So that all happens in the empathize phase. Then number 3, just let me know if I'm successfully answering your questions or not. Number 3 is the prototype for the public or for a select few? I think I answered that before. It could be for the public, but is mostly for a sample size. So a sample size could include experts, your target audience, stakeholders, definitely users of the application. So that's what the prototype is for. Yeah. Then, and when you give them that, it's now you're already entering the phase of testing. So 4, can the app be used to check firsthand if the design works? Okay, so later in the course you learn about heat maps and other things, but yes, when you're testing it, you'll be able to observe their decisions. So or like, maybe I don't know if I should use Instagram as an example. The Instagram I'm using is literally different from the Instagram my friend is using. I confirmed this some days ago, and probably this is their way of testing out a solution or testing out a new flow. That way they can see, okay, how do I interact with the app? Am I finding it easier to interact with the app? Am I always going back and forth, or finding it hard to click on something? Well, they'll just look at the similarities, or what's the problem or what's not the problem, which solution solves whatever problem they're solving better. So definitely, now it could be a case of, go through this app and fill this form. So they'll go through the app. You can now fill the form of, oh, what did you find easy to do on the app, or what did you find hard to do on the app? We collect the details through that form. It could be a room, and like invigilators, we're literally watching 1, 2, 3 person use our application, and silently we're noting down what we observed. It could be maybe using a third-party app to reflect whatever they are doing on our app, and then we can see where they clicked, what they did not click. Obviously we have there'll be permissions and stuff like that, and then all those information will now influence the decisions. Then number 5, the example like you gave about different users wanting different things. When working with feedback, can we implement everyone's feedback, or do we just face the majority? So mostly it is the majority, because I mean, for it to be a majority means this is an actual issue everyone faces. But it's not just any feedback. Even if it's a majority, we have to consider the goals of the organization. Yes, everything's about the user, and it's not to go back on my word, but it's just to, each company is different. Why Facebook is different, why Facebook is there is different from why Instagram is there. Both of them are social media platforms, but their goals are completely different. completely different. So if someone comes on Instagram saying, I like this Facebook feature there, if it's something that aligns with our goals or the purpose of Instagram, sure, we can add it. And it's something everyone is complaining about, sure, we can add it. But if it's something that now is now turning Instagram to Facebook and is like, so why should I now use Instagram if I can just go to Facebook? It's like, oh, we'll probably just not have this so that Facebook can run on its own, Instagram can run on its own. I hope that explains it. So yes, it's not just everybody's feedback, but definitely we'll consider, okay, this is something everyone is complaining about and this is something we can do, or this is something we can do, or this is something maybe in release version 2 or version 3 we can add to it, but not in this initial release. So things like that, I think that's how they approach feedback. Okay. All right, so let's continue with the session. If you have anything, just put it in the chat box and then I'll answer it at the end. Okay. Yeah, Olumuyiwa, constructive feedback. Not just I don't like it. What don't you like about it? Like we need to know what exactly the problem is. So oh, I don't like the way I have to click 5 times before I can send a message. We can now say, oh, let's look into that. Developer, why are they clicking 5 times to send a message? That's a constructive feedback. Than I don't like it. And we're like, what don't you like about it? And maybe some is I don't like the color, but that's the color of our brand. Okay, why don't you like the color of this color, even if it's the color of our brand? So these are ways we like go through it and understand everything. Okay. So now moving forward. So before the break, we spoke about the roles of a product designer. So the first role is user research. So the second role is conceptual design. I hope we're all following. Okay, so conceptual design. This is the stage where the high level ideas and concepts are developed based on user research and problem definition. I think I've overemphasized the whole understanding the user and knowing the problem they're solving. So this is now the stage where we now have all the ideas to address the problem. So it involves brainstorming, which could be one person, but definitely advisable to be a team of designers, and even other people that will be working on the product as well, and other people like the product manager, the developers, to be a team brainstorming, like, okay, what solution can we do? And then to be sketching of the potential solutions to address the user's needs and challenges. So conceptual design, the role of a product designer is also to um put together everything understood and come up with ideas to solve the problem for the user. Then we move on to our case study. Back to Sarah, the architect. So after gathering all the insights, she begins to sketch out the ideas. Remember, she's an architect working on a new office for a tech company. So she has spoken to the stakeholders and the employees. What would you like? What don't you like? Things like that. And now she's now moving into conceptual design as an architect. And then she's drafting out the blueprint and design layout of the building. She's considering everything from the placement of the windows for natural light. Remember, one said one window facing the ocean. So she was okay. The best place to put the window is here, to the natural flow. So placement of windows for natural light, to the flow of foot traffic so that everywhere is not crammed up. Then she creates multiple versions that, okay, would you like this flow? Like, would you like people can walk into the building like this, or people can walk into the building like this? And then she'll refine the design based on feedback from the stakeholders. Now, note that stakeholders is not just shareholders like owner of the company. Stakeholders are everybody that has to do with the product. So this is the user, this is the developer, this is the product and everything. Okay, love it. I'm using an example. So I'm using an architect's example to explain a product designer. So coming from the perspective of everything Sarah, the architect, does, is explaining everything a product designer does. All right. So now, after all this, to interpret this in product designer language, this is where a product designer moves from user research. He has spoken to everybody that the product is influencing, and moving on to creating wireframes that, okay, this sketch, can it work? Can it not work? And look, and you still learn about wireframes later in the class. But yeah, creating wireframes, low fidelity prototypes, and exploring different solutions. So you say, okay, maybe I should use WhatsApp. How can they send message? Should they be able to call before they send message? Or should they have the option to either call or send message? Or should one come before the other? So these are just different solutions. Or maybe to send message, should they send message with a video or with text? Or should they have option to do voice notes? Those type of things. So you just look at different solutions, and that's in the role of a product designer when it comes to conceptual design, which is like mental ideation phase design. So moving on to the next, we have the visual design, and I'm sure a lot of us are excited to do this over the course of the whole learning process. So visual design is basically where the focus is on aesthetics, the look of the product, the right color. Later, we'll still learn about color psychology, we'll still learn about color theory, we'll still learn about typography, how to pair fonts, hierarchy, white space. We'll still learn about so many things when it comes to design. So, but that's where all of this comes in. Yeah. So the aesthetics, the look of the products, the color schemes, typography layout, then also to create something that is appealing and effective visual representation that enhances user experience. So let's note, target audience definitely is very important. So what you're going to create for a child, like maybe a child game, is different from an adult game, is different from an adult application, is different from an application for mothers, it's different from an application for students. So, and it's even in students, it's different from primary one, it's different from primary three. So your target audience is very, very important, and it very much influences your visual design. And even not just who they are, it could also be, are your target audience old people, maybe people with maybe blindness, people with disabilities. Because remember, it's not just on your phone, it could be maybe a device at the entrance of a building, like where you tap your card. So you're looking at so many things. Is it people? So yeah, look at different things. So if, for example, now if someone that is colorblind, you want to not just use only colors, and you want your app to be accessible, which means a lot of people can use your app. You want to be able to, okay, people can zoom in and see the different parts at in a larger. So maybe someone that is has eye problem now, they want to be able to zoom in and see, okay, this is it in a bigger frame, and everything will still be responsive. We'll still get to all of these parts. You want to be able to zoom out. Maybe someone cannot see things big, rather zooms out. Your app should allow them to be able to zoom out. If it's a blind person now, maybe you can have a case where you can, okay, read everything. I'm sure, I don't know if we've heard of PDF read. So to read out everything that is there, so you don't even have to read it, you just have to listen, like an audio book and things. So maybe to read out, send, don't send, should I send the message, what message would you like to send? So for a blind person, could be voice activation and audio. So that version of the app could be there. So it really depends on your target audience when you're doing the visual UI, the visual design, or UI, which is the user interface. And that's one of the roles of a product designer. He or she is part of the UI design to ensure it solves the user's problem, as well as definitely user's problem, and considering who the user is or possible user is. So we go back to Sarah the architect. We go back to Sarah the architect, and now remember, she has done the blueprint, and once the blueprint is approved, she now goes on to do a detailed design of the building. So I don't know if you guys know what a blueprint is. It's all those, it's literally a yellow piece of paper, but it's really big. It has the sketch of the building, but not like, it's a flat, they use lines to represent rooms, like boxes. Okay, this is the room, this is the toilet, this is the kitchen. So that's like the blueprint, that's like the flat out. So when they've approved, okay, this solution works, the person now go on to create a model. So a model is now that small building that will look like this is how the door looks like, this is how the window will look like, this is how the roof will look like, this is how the, so it's just a representation of the building. So now as you're entering the visual design, you're actually adding flesh. So to read what's here, she works on the detailed design of the building, which is the material for the floor. Should it be tiled? Should it be stony? She works on the furniture. Should it be white furniture? Should it be yellow furniture? Every detail is considered, from the color scheme to the texture, to create a cohesive and visual appealing environment. And then, just as I've said, when it comes to product design, this is the colors, these are the typography, these are the layouts to create a beautiful and functional user interface. I hope we're still together and I've not lost any of you. Okay, so we move on to prototyping, which is the fourth role of a product designer. So now, when you kind of have like, okay, this is how it looks like, prototyping. And I think now this is a part I didn't add. I don't know if we've seen all this 3D representation of the building. Like, okay, yes, we have the model, but we now have the video. They'll now put like one cartoon man walking through the building, or driving in, get down from his car, walk into the building, you show the inside, walk into the door, you show the inside. I don't know if you've seen any of that, but that's more or less like the prototype. So this is how the building is, this is how you can walk in. And for us, it's like this is a walk through the app by yourself. You can tap on send, you can tap on video, you can tap on whatever you want to tap on. It works. It doesn't work, but you see the after result of tapping on it. So you can use this with mockups. Figma allows you to put whatever you prototype on a mockup of a phone or a laptop, or maybe if you have your own custom mockup, whatever. And then you can just explore and test. So when you have it, you can show the stakeholders. They're like, this roof, we don't like it, to change it. You can meet the user. The user will be like, with this roof, everybody will be looking inside my house, that type of thing. So those stuff, that's literally just like it. So prototyping is you bringing to life what you have, like creating a model that works so that they can see, okay, this is the solution we agreed on. Should we go ahead and build, or should we just go back and correct, or you don't even want it at all? That type of thing. So it helps with the final refining solutions for the final implementation. Maybe they said, oh, I want a slide. Man, when's gonna put the slide outside? They'll say, no, the slide has to be inside the building. So there's that. So next, so let's go back to her, Sarah, the architect. So yes, this is the detailed design in hand. And then the construction team, maybe after approval, construction team can start building the office, and Sarah visits to ensure everything is being done well. Although wait, I think, okay, yeah. So yeah, prototyping, there's a model. Once the model gets approved, you can now proceed with building. Um, and then it can be tested. So you can have the maybe video testing, you go have the, I don't know, skeleton testing, whatever it is. So yeah, ensuring everything is done according to the plan, and then if whatever doesn't work that we did on paper, you can make adjustments on the spot. So yeah, so that's just how the product designer creates prototypes and tests them with the users, making iterative changes based on feedback and real world conditions. So collaboration. Now, definitely she can't do this alone. I can't do this alone. Product designer cannot build a site alone. Even if you have all the skills, how many apps do you want to do? Like, it can be really tasking. So you have to work with other people. You have to work with other team members, other stakeholders to be able to achieve the common goal. So, effective collaboration again involves sharing ideas, feedback, responsibilities to be able to create well-rounded solutions. So you have to work with the team. You in your head, you might think, and maybe we've probably seen all these let's say memes or stuff they'll post, like maybe product designer is fighting with the front-end developer because product designer thought the user could fly, while front-end developer said the user cannot fly, the user must drive. So those type of things, like they'll maybe bring 3D here, bring animation here. So you have to work with the team. What can be created, what cannot be created, and then also you need to hear their ideas. They need to see solutions that work. Maybe with you, you feel, oh, AI can solve it, and to them they're like, this is how AI solves it. Think of a solution in this direction. So you can't do it alone. You have to work with your team. And working with your team here, Sarah is the architect, but she still needs to work with the plumber. She needs to work with the electrician. She needs to work with the bricklayer, because she can only say this how to look, but it's the bricklayer that will build it. And then even as they've even if they do commence the project, she has to say, oh yeah, painter, make sure green is in this place and yellow is in this place. Don't put yellow here and green here. I know you're the painter, but based on the design, this is where yellow is supposed to be. So that's how she just monitors it and ensures everything flows. And then at the end of the day, she works closely with the professionals to ensure the final building matches her vision. So this is where the product designer collaborates, like I said, with developers, marketers, stakeholders to ensure the product's backend functionality and user experience aligns with the overall vision. Okay, so there's one extra one, and I'm going to introduce that. I call it the secret number 6. Although I won't say it's a secret, but I mean it's part of it. So that's user testing and launch. So the final stage in product design, which is user testing and iteration. But the thing is, even after the product has been launched, the product designer's job does not end. The product designer will still collect user feedback. And I'm sure that's why all these apps, they'll be like, do you like this app? If you click yes, they'll be like, yeah, why? Or rate it. Those are collecting user feedback. If you have a problem, there's like a community that you can just go and rant, and maybe someone will reply that, okay, although those ones are either bots or customer care, and be like, oh, this is why so and so try this and this, or just collect the feedback like, okay, that has been sorted out, try again. So even after the product has been launched, we still collect user feedback and improve on it over time. So it's a case that, okay, Sarah has built the building. So let's say Sarah has built the building and the company has moved in, everybody's enjoying everything, but her job isn't done. She'll still have to collect feedback from experiences. Are the spaces enough? Did they employ more people so the space cannot even contain them again? The light, is it enough? And then based on that, she could say, okay, maybe if you guys ever want to do a renovation, maybe you can break down this wall to create more space for your staff, or you can put this fake wall to separate design team from product design team, that type of thing. So that's where your work still continues even after the product has been launched. All right, so I think that's the end of our class. That's the end of our class. We have a test your knowledge. So just scan this code or go to bit.ly SE test 1. Bit.ly SE test 1, or scan the QR code with your phone. There are a bit of questions, and I'm looking at the feedback. So what I'll see how many people respond, and it's a quiz, so you even see if you passed or not, and I get to see the results as well. So let's just do that. So while that is going on, if you have any questions, please let me know. Let me answer all your questions. If there's any way you are still confused, please let me know. Let me sort that out. But we're done. So just to recap, the roles of the product designer is user research, conceptual design, visual design, prototyping, testing, and what's the last one? Can someone help me with that? What's the last one? Collaboration. So yes, so those are the five, or would I say six, roles of a product designer. So let me in with your question. All right. So I can see what's the difference between web design and product design. So web design is more of, literally as the name says, web design, but it's not just. I mean, a product designer can design a website, but a product designer will not code a website. A web designer will code a website, if that makes sense. So that's like CSS, HTML, JavaScript to bring a website to life. and you can maybe use all these platforms like Wix or WordPress to create it. But then, so web design is kind of under product design. Well, a web designer is someone that will code the website. So if it's a mobile app website or a web website, which is kind of the same thing because it has to be responsive, a web designer will code it to life. Why a product designer will just design it. So I think that's the difference. But a product designer can design a website, but not the real website. Just maybe use Figma to design how it will look, and then a web designer can now probably, or if maybe a front end person can now do the actual, like replicate whatever has been designed on Figma through code, and then the back end person will now like link it to the server, and everybody has a website they can log on to. So I hope that answers the question. Then are there applications or website recommendations to play around with to know and grow more in this field? Okay, are there more applications or website recommendations to play around with to know more and grow more in this field? Um, okay, I would say, how will I put this? It's mostly learning. So when you want to play around with it, it's mostly learning. So like you can go on, let's say Behance or Dribble or Pinterest and say, okay, search for maybe fintech application and say, okay, let me try and replicate what I'm looking at. Or you could watch a tutorial on YouTube and say, okay, I mean, the tutorial will explain how to use Figma and how to create whatever they are creating, and then you can replicate it and you're learning in the process. And then to do all this, depending on, you could take a course, you could do the Google UX designs professional certificate, or you could take a course on say Udemy or wherever. And then to practice, you can use Figma. I think we'll be using Figma for this learning. You can use Figma. Yes, there's Adobe XD, there's Sketch, but I'll always recommend Figma because it's really great for collaboration, even in the free version. So you can use Figma to practice, to play around, and other softwares are similar as well. So once you know the basics, I think you won't really find it hard to use any other software. So yeah, to have inspiration, you can even go on Instagram, follow professionals, and just do what they do or try something. Maybe see or open an app like WhatsApp. Like, okay, how can I redesign WhatsApp? Or let me add a new solution to WhatsApp. Maybe schedule a message, something like I say, okay, I want to add a schedule a message feature. Okay, how can I add a schedule a message feature? You can do your research and then create your own prototype, add it to your portfolio. Amazing. So I hope that answers your question. Who is a product designer? Oh, Kofo. So a product designer is literally someone that solves a user's problem or need, literally. So how does the person solve it? I think we've gone through all of that, and you want to understand your user and know the problem you're solving. I think that's the best way to explain it. And a product designer is not just limited to digital design. It could be different products. It could be how could I make a more comfortable shoe, or how could I make a ketchup that I don't have to be pushing. I can just squeeze out the ketchup, things like that. Or in fact, just ditch the whole bottle, use nylon you can tear. So those are other things a product designer can do. But product design here is digital product design and UI UX product design rather. So that's what we're talking about. So number two, can a fashion designer use product design to design outfits? Um Now, okay, so maybe that adds to the first one. Yes, you can apply the principles of product design to design outfits, but it's not UI UX design to design outfits unless you want to build maybe a shopping platform or a, I don't know, an app maybe where people can try on your outfits. It can influence your work as a fashion designer, but I won't say it can be used to design outfits. Maybe the application can be used to design outfits because Figma is like a vector based application. But product design for UI UX is probably maybe you want to do a website or you want to do an application for your fashion design outfit. But then if you want to apply the product design principles like, okay, research the user, the person that will wear the clothes, like the 5-year-old that is going to wear your clothes, know what 5-year-old, like maybe they want something free or they want something that they can jump around with and it will not wrinkle or anything. You can apply, you can do your research, you can apply all the principles of product design for fashion design. But I don't think UI UX product design is for fashion design. Yeah. Okay, yeah, thank you, Giwa. So yes, a fashion designer is someone who plays a key role in defining the goal of a product, work its business goals, and ensure a great user experience. Okay, so you got it. Okay, that was probably a mistake. That was probably a mistake. So are there any other questions? If you have a question, we still have some time. Let me go through the responses. Okay, the slides will still be sent to you later on, so don't worry, you'll get them. Everything used in class, you have access to that. Okay, so that number one, everyone getting number one wrong, that's probably an error, and I apologize for that. Okay. Okay, that's actually an error. Let me just change it. Okay. Oh wow, a lot of people miss number two. Which is not a process of design thinking. Investigate is not a process of design thinking. No, there's ideate, there's test, there's design, there's empathize, there's prototyping. Investigate is not a process of design thinking. Please don't choose it because I'm seeing a lot of wrong answers here. Please, please, please. Investigate is the only one. Ideate is there, test is there, design is there, and empathize and prototyping. Those are the five process of design thinking. Then the answer for who is not what is which is not the role of a product designer, own the business. A product designer may own the business, but it's not like a major role. You don't have to own the business to be a product designer, and most of the time you don't own the business when you're a product designer. But doesn't mean you can't own the business, but that's not a role. Like it doesn't make you a product designer because you own the business. So you can collaborate, user testing, user research, um prototyping, and then visual design. Number one for everyone is correct. Maybe I should. That was a mistake on my end. Number one is correct for everybody. I don't know why it's made everybody miss it. So number one is correct for everybody. So let's say 2/2. If you get the second two, that's 2/2. Okay, beautiful. Ilori, what didn't you get in the assignment? Can one only use Figma for designing? Definitely. Now, Figma has plugins. Okay, for UI UX, it's not just Figma. There's Adobe X, there's Sketch, there are a lot of other applications. But for our class, we'll be using Figma. And yes, to support Figma, because it's not just Figma in itself, you would need where can I get pictures, where can I get icons. So you'll be learning about plugins to make easy that process. The assignment is literally the link to scan and just do it live. Yes, there's no answer. Like, number one is a free answer. So just 2/2. Who is investigating? That was just the wrong, that's literally the wrong answer. All right. So I think after today, just you can in your free time learn about the product designer, learn about his roles, learn about how they go about their processes, and another facilitator will be taking you this Saturday and take you on a deeper dive on your journey of product design. So I think I'm coming to an end of this class. I'm loving the responses. 382. That's amazing. All right. So do we have any other questions before we call it a day? The answers are investigate. Investigate is not a process of design thinking, and own the business is not a role of a product designer. Amazing. I'm loving all this. Great work, everyone. The role of a developer is to bring it to life. Okay, during the collaboration phase, that's giving their own expert insight. So if a designer, like in the ideation phase, we're coming up with ideas to solve the problem. So if my idea is something that cannot be developed, it's not like how exactly do we want to create the product? So the developer will be like, oh, this work, this doesn't work. Or the developer could even say, oh, we could approach from this point of view because I can develop it. Like based on my development experience, let's try this solution. So that's how it he or she influences the design process. I think I've answered your question, Blessing. Okay. So any other information as regards to the training will be communicated to you. Can a product designer do the work of a design manager? Those are two completely different roles, but definitely maybe in like a startup you might need to multitask. But and yeah, you kind of do manage it, but then you're also the creator unless there's like a broader team that has individual members. Thank you, Joy. Yes, there'll be a practical session where you get to design your product at the end of class or work with a group. Visual illustration is different from product design. I think visual illustration is graphic design, communication with design. It's similar, but it's different because product design is more on digital products than just communication. Thank you so much, Hilary. Keep fit with me. Your question isn't clear. Can you rephrase that? For those that didn't join on Monday, I think I'll just advise to go back to rewatch it.
Hello.
All right. Thank you all so much. I had an amazing time, and I hope you all learned all that needs to be learned. Hi,
Hi,
Falasha.
well done, Shekemi. Was a good one, a good session, and I'm looking forward to what this class will create after this training. I would encourage that everything that you've learned today, if you would like to rewatch the video is available. You should go back to watch. Please go back to the first video, the one we had on Monday, where we talked about um, product design, the difference between product design and UI UX design, where we talked about the skill set of a product design and some other things and what a good product entails. So it's very important that you go back to listen, watch, take notes, then come back to this so that you will understand. It's a process, it's a flow. We don't just we are not just here to just load you with knowledge and not practice it. But we want to make sure that you understand the fundamentals. Very important. You don't skip processes. You don't skip some things before you actually produce a digital product. So those products you see out that you mentioned on Monday that you love. Some of you mentioned Carrywise. Some of you mentioned Kuda Bank. There was a process, a due process. They followed a due process, and that's why most of you can talk about it and say, "I love this product. It's usable. Wow, I love this product. It's enjoyable. I love the color. I love that." The process were carefully done. So it's important that this all this we are teaching you is not to bore you or to just talk and talk and talk and talk. It's just for you to understand because as you grow from one journey to another, right now you are an aspiring, or I will call you an associate product designer right now, or incoming product designer, global product designer, sorry, global designer, right? The fundamentals, the basics helps you grow as you become, then you go to the next step. Because every company, though they have their structure, some companies, their own is a junior product designer or a beginner, then move to a product designer itself. Then from there, maybe a senior product designer. From there, you can maybe a principal or sorry, what's the word? A design director or a team lead, depending on your organization structure. So all this would actually help you. The truth is that um, processes would be there. Trends can come, they can go. Trends can change. Maybe today we have dark and mode, tomorrow we have minimalist, and next we have this trend and this trend. But the processes, the basics or the fundamentals we are teaching you will guide you throughout your journey as you grow. So it's very important, like Shekemi said last class, that you are open-minded, be open to learning. And please, I would want to encourage you to share your journey. Be accountable to somebody. Don't just learn in isolation. Accountable, reach out to somebody to help. If you want to put it on LinkedIn, some people what they do is they post on LinkedIn so that LinkedIn people will follow up. Let me use the word. I feel like there's a family on LinkedIn that can follow you, encourage you, or maybe your close friends or close association. It's very important that you are accountable to somebody, because as you grow, you might get stuck on the way, you might get discouraged, but because you are accountable to somebody, you've told somebody about this journey, they help you, they encourage you, they push you, even when you are tired. Sometimes you can be like, oh, why is this so? Why are we just talking and talking? When are we going to get to practice? I would say you guys to be patient. Be patient. We're going to get there. Because if we rush all these things, when we get to the practical, you will still have to go back. I remember when I started, and at some point I had to go back. Even as we are right now, sometimes we still tend to go back to refresh. Sometimes we tend to relearn. Sometimes we tend to unlearn something. Sometimes we tend to learn again. It's there's no As a product designer, there is room for learning. There is room to get better, because that's the goal. You have to get better. You have to build something that is usable, something that works. You don't just build something that looks good and that's all. It has to work. It has to be successful in the marketplace. Because at the end of the day, um, you have to show your workings. You have to show. It has to show that you did your job as a product designer. Really. So I want to encourage you. Put it out there. I am learning this. Be accountable to somebody. Don't hide it. This is not, those days when things will happen in the family and you put, don't let people know your secret or something. This is different. It's not, you're not like hiding or keep it. I don't want people to know that I'm doing tech. I don't want people. No, this generation or this time is actually different. It's very important you put it out there. Tell people so that you can be consistent. And it's very important because you're gonna get bored or get what's the word, Esther? There's this word. Um I'm trying to remember a word where you is either you get stopped or you are just unmotivated. You don't even, you feel like, are you sure this
Like,
product design?
creative block.
Yes, you get to that stage. Calm down. So we're going to be having a class on Saturday by 7 p.m. So this week is actually for general class. So please, you are free to join. You are free to go back, rewatch, relearn, talk to people, talk to your parents. You can connect with your friends or other ladies on this group. I've seen people, I don't know, I've seen people connect with me on LinkedIn, and we as a facilitator, we are looking forward to helping you grow this journey. So you can reach out to us on LinkedIn. You can reach out to the coordinator of the incubator on how to reach out to us if you cannot access us on social media. It's very important. Okay, someone is saying that when you redesign, Esther, you're going to answer this anyway so that you can talk as well. When you redesign a product like WhatsApp or Facebook, would you be sued for copyright infringement? Can you see the
Uh,
message?
so I can't see the question, but I can give an answer to that. So
Okay.
when you are designing any application of your choice, you should state it there that it is a redesign. For whatsoever reason you are redesigning or you are replicating. So there is a form where you redesign and you are thinking that I'm thinking that there should be a change on WhatsApp design on WhatsApp application, maybe because I feel something should be better or it can be better. For example, GT Bank's application, I think that some things should be done in a better way. So I want to redesign the application and then I'll put it on Behance, I'll put it on other social media platforms where I can share my work. So that is a redesign, and you would put it there that you are an upcoming designer and you are redesigning this. You can also tag them if they like if they like your redesign, you could get a job from them, right? But then if you are replicating a design, you can also do the same thing. So I am replicating this particular design, and you would make sure that okay, whatever you are doing, you are writing that you are replicating a design or you are redesigning that thing, not that it's something you dreamt of and you did it by yourself. Maybe you got a revelation to start a design or something. No, but you are going to tell them this is a redesign or this is a replicated design. So that's my take on that. And I don't know if the question on 2D, 3D has been answered, or do I put a word on that?
Okay.
I think you can go ahead briefly, maybe like in 2 minutes.
Okay. So for 2D images or for 2D two-dimensional designs, that's why they call them 2D, 3D. So 2D two-dimensional design or two-dimensional whatever, two-dimensional application, two-dimensional things and that that is a design or an image that has two qualities: width, height. So you are looking at me right now. You can see me. What you can see is 2D. You can see the width that that you can see the width of what I'm using to teach. You can see the height. It's a flat design. There's nothing popping out and making it look like there is depth or something. This is flat design 2D, something that you could see on maybe your frames, on maybe even YouTube. So most of us are on YouTube and are watching from YouTube. You would see that what you are seeing on YouTube is totally flat. There's nothing coming there's nothing coming up as if it's a depth kind of thing. There's nothing coming like that VR feel where you wear your vision glasses and then you can feel that you are inside that thing already. You understand? So there's nothing coming in as a depth. It's just two-dimensional flat design. But when you get to 3D, you have three dimensions, and the three dimensions follow width, height, and depth. So with three dimensions now, you are dealing with your width, you are dealing with your height, and you are dealing with your depth. That is when in Figma we use things like the drop shadow, we use things like the inner shadow to then create something that looks like a maybe pop-up button, or maybe a skeuomorphic design, or maybe a neomorphic design, to just give it not a flat look, but a look that has the volume in that particular design. So that's the difference between two-dimensional, three-dimensional. Two-dimensional deals with a flat design, height and width. Three-dimensional deals with three, which is height, width, and then depth. I don't know if you understand that. I'm not seeing any response. Maybe my network is lagging. If anybody is hearing me, can we just say something?
Okay, thank you. So you can follow Shikemi on LinkedIn.
I
That
can't see.
we didn't take, you can actually, if you have more questions, you can actually forward it or send it to through the incubator hub. And also, please, if you are yet to join the Telegram, please do that, because we'll join as well. We'll be having interactions and all that. And it's very important that you look out, check your mail. Very, very important. This time and season that we are in, it's very important that you check your mail. Very important, please. And your assignment would, after this class, we are going to, so the assignment will be done like weekly. So the first assignment, you can watch the video if you've not done it, or if you don't know it, watch the first video. This second one as well, you can watch the video. Then by at the end of this week's class, we are going to talk about it and work on it. So please and please look at like, you check your mail, very important. And please, not after this learning, don't go and just drop your phone or drop or whatever. Go back and activate on what you've learned. Go back to ruminate on what you've learned. Go back to digest it and apply it real life. For instance, design thinking. You've learned about design thinking. You could take a product and look at how a product was brought to life using the design thinking approach or design thinking process. You can look at it. You can say Facebook. Okay, how do I think Facebook was invented? How did I think that Facebook came to be or came to life? Right. So it's very important that you go back and apply, because application is the key. It's not about just theory and learning and all that. You have to apply. We cannot just give you all this whole great information that our facilitator Shekemi gave us today and just sit down and just forget and on to the next class. No, I would encourage you before Saturday that you go back and ruminate on this design thinking class. Pick a website or a mobile app and look at how design thinking was applied. It's very important. So our next class will be talking more about other design methodologies and framework. So I want you to look forward to that class and come with the energy that you brought today. I must say you guys are doing a great job, and thank you for showing up again today. There's a Telegram group. That's why I said you should check your mail. Information will be passed across to you via your mail. Don't worry. By next week, we'll have more streamlined classes. But today, this week will be general classes. So it's very important. Please, anyone that is asking question on what is product design, it shows that that person was not in the class. So it means that you have room. There's grace. Thank God it's recorded. Go back to the two classes we've had. Go back. From next class, I do not expect anyone to be asking what is product design, or who is the product design, or what are the skill set of product designer, or what is design thinking, and what are the design thinking processes from next class. So thank you very much. So if you have any other question, you can forward it to Incubator Hub. They will find a way to get across to us, or you forward it to our facilitator for today, or myself, or Esther. I believe we had a wonderful class. Can you and Demi for today. It was a great time, actually. Well done, Shikemi. Good job. Well done. Thank you
Well
very much,
done.
Shikemi, for a great time. So next class, we are having our facilitator, Esther. Look forward to it. She has given us like ice, a tip of the iceberg today. You can see we are ready. The energy is there. So please, I think it's one per week. Just go and watch the video. At the end of this week, we'll talk about assignment, but make sure you do your assignment. It's very important you attempt all assignments and you apply all that you've learned. Thank you very much. Ladies, do you have anything to say? We have like 3 minutes to leave or end this call or call it a day.
I think I would just like to add that if you leave design, design will leave you.
Yeah.
So if you have laid your
That's
hands
what
on it
it-
now, don't
Esther
think of
2024. Just quote that. Esther 2024. I want to see that post. Especially Esther 2024. If you leave design, design will leave you. Design will leave you. Well done. Nice
if you are
one.
laying your hands on this plow, don't look back.
Hmm.
And
Wow, that's good. I think it was a great time. I'm looking forward to Saturday and I'm looking forward to more sessions. So by
Okay.
Saturday, we'll tell you the next line of action and how the next class will look like. Bye. Bye,
bye.
everyone. About. Bye. See you on Saturday.
Yeah, see you on Saturday.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining the class tonight. We hope that you have had a wonderful time. We also believe that you must have filled the attendance form. If you have not done so, please ensure that you do that. It's very, very important that you fill the attendance. Do not forget that you can still send in your questions to us via the comment section or through any of our social media platforms. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell so that each time the class is about to start, you get notified. You can also reach out to us through the Telegram community. A mail has been sent to that effect. So check your mail. We've sent the link to the Telegram community according to the course that you've registered for. We believe that you enjoyed your time in the class tonight, and we hope that you have a beautiful time and see you in the next class. Bye.